Good evening, and this is part two. Yes, a little bit of stuff. You know, like I said, the things that we've experienced here, and again, it's just kind of like it's like it was meant to be. The people I meet, and I'm sure it's the same for you also. And
Hmm.
it's just like I feel like I don't. I think we're starting to find our places, our place in life, and I'm starting to see things for the way they truly are. And once you understand how this reality thing works, it's like a magician's trick. Okay,
Hmm.
once you understand it, it's not magic anymore. And that's how I feel about this because really the things that go on that we read about in the newspaper, like that kind of thing, that kind of stuff doesn't really bother me anymore. I could care less. I mean, I just realized that it's just part of the minutia of this existence, and work with it, work around it, or work with it, one or the other.
Yeah.
You know,
And
so
and the truth of it anyway, I mean, really,
yeah,
how much is it?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
highly
And
questionable.
exactly,
Yeah.
is it real or is this Memorex? You don't remember that commercial. Anyway, but the thing, and I know that you were really interested in the telephone, and here's what
Oh yeah,
really.
well, we haven't even let's broach the subject for our audience because it's coming out of nowhere. Dr. Mulder, I understand that you have a new technology that you've developed, and I've heard about it from another party who collects your boxes and who's been on the show.
uh,
And she really has high praises for your this, and it's called a tepaphone. So could you maybe tell me about how it works, what it is, why it works, if you know, you might not, and if you know anything about the history?
Oh, well, Josh's done with this, I've done with this, and I'm glad you asked. Thank
Okay.
you. Just out of the
Sure.
blue, I'm glad you asked this question.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, the reason why I bring this up is, and I'm gonna start from right now. I'm gonna work my way backwards, or
Perfect.
I'll kind of jump around a little bit there. Okay,
Hmm.
the reason I think initially what I wanted to do was come up with a new gadget that I could connect with all these machines to have, there's just thousands of these machines all around the world, and I want to give people an immediate upgrade and they can actually take this thing to the next level. And
Hmm.
so I talked to the mutual friend of ours, and which, by the way, just a fantastic human being. I mean,
Oh,
just
fantastic human being.
oh yeah. I mean,
He really is.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And another individual that has been following this tech for years too, and following these radios devices, and has a collection of their very own. But anyway, and
Hmm.
now I always went to these people. I like to get their feedback because I trust their opinion, and they're really in depth and they're very in tune with this stuff. And they're just I just want to see, okay, how does this thing feel to you or whatever. And out of the blue, I called. I was kind of I was a little bit. I was working. I was trying to figure out, okay, which direction do I want to go now. I'm kind of developing this last series of machines. I basically got it as far as I need to get it.
Hmm.
Where do I want to go now? And so I did the simple thing. I called up both of them, and our mutual friend, and and I said, we were talking. Okay, what was your favorite device? And he said the telephone. And then I talked to this other person, and I said, so, out of all the devices that you've used, which one was your favorite? Telephone. I thought, okay, all right, the universe is telling me go back in this thing. And so I went through the telephone, revamped it, got it where it's all updated, using modern electronics, it's set up in such
Okay.
a way where it's just universal. Now, how did I where does telephone come from? How did I find out about it? It was Charles Casamano. Matter of fact, if you listen to some of these videos of Chuck and I think it's the Doc and Uncle Chucky show is how we have it. Listen, if you go through these things, we're always talking about the telephone. It's like, oh man, it's like everything's coming together. Telephone, 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 and so the thing about it is simplicity of it. You can use it with a machine. You can use it without a machine. You can with a few attachments. So you can turn it into basically a completely dialless, if that's such a word, machine. In other words, there's no dials to it. You just put in the intent that you have, uh, along with something that represents what you're trying to change. And then after you do this, you take something that represents the target, put it on top of the light, and let it do
Uh-huh.
its job. It's a true mind machine, but it's working off actual physics. I mean, it's working off of going back. It's off the same physics as or the same. It works the same way as the dial boxes work, but it's using light as a carrier wave, and the energy from it, for whatever reason, is making the output of these machines up to 700% more powerful. It may even be higher than that.
Oh my
And
gosh,
oh yeah, yeah,
really?
yeah. It's like taking a machine and is taking the engine out of it and replacing it with a jet engine. I mean, it's like going from a 100 horsepower engine to a 700 horsepower engine. I hopefully that's a reasonable or a way of putting this. But yes, Lady Karen, our mutual friend, is done work on this thing and has tested it repeatedly and it's getting the same results over and over again. And
And I
even
was actually speaking of another mutual friend.
oh, oh, okay, yeah, this is different. This
Oh,
mutual
okay,
friend,
you, Lady Karen. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Lady
Okay.
Karen is the one who's been doing the testing on this, but the telephone, like actually investigating. Okay, how much does this improve performance on these dial machines when they're working together? And that is where the magic came in. And so because of that, this telephone is just really I'm going bonkers with it. Josh is going bonkers with it. He's done things with it repeatedly. He's getting immediate results or fast results
Wow.
from this thing. I mean, it's just
Can
incredible
you
what's happening.
will you send me a picture of it, because when I edit this video, I'm just gonna do some light, or this um
Yeah,
audio video. I'm gonna do a little bit of light editing, and if you would send me an image, I'm gonna
yeah,
put the image in right at this part of the conversation, because I don't even know
yeah.
what one looks like. So,
Yeah. Well, you're going to be having one in your hot little hands next week. How about that?
really?
Somebody's telling me, that you may be receiving one.
Wow. Well, I'll certainly give it
Huh.
lots of
Yeah. Eh,
uh that, geez, that would be great.
You
I mean, I'm
see,
just
it,
fascinated because I was, just as we were talking, I looked it up on Grok, but Grok gave me a really mediocre answer that
oh
was
yeah.
just like,
Oh yeah, it's. I'll say it, but I've done a bunch of videos on it. Josh has done the history on the thing. He did and plus he even did a coast to coast show. I think he was talking about the time experiments he was doing over in Rachel, Nevada, but also they were
okay.
talking about the telephone. And then he did strange things show just about the telephone, about the history of it. But here's the
Okay, okay,
okay.
so that would be a good source of information. We could even link that maybe to
Oh
this
yeah,
video.
yeah, yeah. I'll go ahead.
That would be great.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, but
Hmm.
the thing about it is, and kind of stepping backwards again, Chuck is talking about the telephone. Telephone. We design a bunch of devices using the telephone technology, and then
And so let me stop you for a sec.
sure,
So the Tepaphone utilizes light
yeah,
to
light's a carrier wave.
transmit a radionic intention, or an
That is
intention that
correct.
is okay.
That's correct.
Uh-huh.
I kind of like to look at it sort of like the candles. You saw the Catholic Church with a light a candle, and I've used this analogy many times. But the light a candle, and I've asked the devout Catholics, why do you do this? What is happening here? You light this candle, and it's basically they're sending a prayer to an angel or to the Virgin Mary or to Jesus or the entity at the who they're working
Right.
with at the time. And so okay, so they're using the light from the candle to send a message into the universe for an angel, let's say, to help them with a blessing or help them with some difficult thing in their life, for example. And I thought, okay, this is
Okay, so
interesting.
you're adding the energy of light to your intention.
Yes, exactly.
And
And for
there are no dials, but there's a way to set a witness.
yes,
Is
exactly.
that
You
right?
can, yeah, there's no dials on the machine per se. I have it set up where
Okay.
you can use it by itself or you can use it with an attachment, which will turn it. into
Oh,
a
do you use like
dialless.
an 1/8 inch cable like you do
Yeah,
with Hunter
yeah,
Killer?
all my stuff.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
it's the same
Yeah.
thing, and I have those. I sell those separately, but what they are, they're there to where if you have like one of the dial machines, you just plug in into the dial machine, the output of the dial machine into the jack on the telephone, turn it on, and let it do its job. Put the target on top of the telephone, on top of the light, and the rest is, it just works. And the thing
Oh,
about it
so
is,
there's a light bulb in there. So you've
yeah, it's
got,
an LED. It's
okay.
an LED. It's
Hmm.
I think it's rated like 50 or 60,000 hours. And I think continuously it's like 7 or 8 years or something like that.
Would, I'm sorry I'm interrupting.
Go ahead.
Would you consider using an incandescent bulb, or could somebody use an incandescent bulb?
Yes, they could. The reason why I
Because
do
I'm
this,
on this, like I got rid of all my, like, I'm just gonna say that I got rid of all the LEDs in my living space and I replaced them with incandescent, and the vibes are, you can really tell the difference.
oh, okay. Yeah, well, the
But
reason,
but but
go
an
ahead.
LED, not to not anyway, I don't mean
No, no,
to.
no, 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 no,
Yeah, yeah.
no. Yeah, I could do this for you. Again, yes, I understand where you're coming from about the LEDs. What we're looking for was a waveform, and this was white light, and this is not
Right.
a,
And
and
LEDs last a lot
a
longer,
lot
so I
longer,
get it. Yeah,
and plus
yeah,
they're a
yeah, yeah.
lot more durable and that kind of thing.
Yep,
Because
yep. No, you make
we,
perfect sense.
yeah, because I also
Yep.
I built this thing for portability, where you can use it, inside of a car or
Right.
whatever. And if you get, you know how incandescents are, if they get hot and or
Yeah,
even
no, all that's true. And now, can people change out their bulbs, or do they need to send it back to you to have it?
They probably need to send it back to me,
I
but
gotcha.
like I said,
Okay, I see.
under normal use, I think continuously it should burn for 7 or 8 years minimum.
Okay, I gotcha.
I have things here from the 1970s with LEDs on them still working just fine. I mean, this is like
Okay.
30 or 50 years. I'm just giving you, and I'm just telling you that how durable they are. And I understand where you're coming from with this, and I understand
But
your
it might be
concerns.
not really the correct place to have a issue with something.
Yeah, not, I mean, if I
Yeah.
could build a special thing for you or
No,
show
no,
you how
no,
to do it,
please.
but yeah.
Hmm.
But anyway,
No.
neither here nor
If it
there.
ain't broke.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's the way I look
Yep.
at it. And that's how
Yep.
we always
Yep.
set everything up. Uh but yeah, that but the thing about it is, one of the things that the the common the common thing that people use radiance for is for financial type stuff. Okay,
Hmm.
whether
Hmm.
a new
Hmm.
job, paying off the credit cards, getting the kids
Yep.
through school, yada yada yada. The list goes on
Yep.
and
Yep.
on, right? Okay.
Yep.
Well, what I was doing here, I was using showing how to use this your money spray as a witness sample on this. Put like I have like a plug-in with plate or the input plate, whether it's on the dial box or that's plugged into the telephone, or whether it's just a plate that I have on the outside of the telephone. What I would do is use your spray as a witness sample, the energy off that spray, and have it go through the telephone toward the target. So basically, what you're doing is you're amplifying that energy that's coming off of the
Oh
spray.
my, I want to get some and get a clear glass vial,
Yeah,
and maybe that would be a really interesting thing to include or to add on, or I'm going to send it to you.
yeah. Because what I would do
A
is,
clear glass vial with the money mist,
yeah. Well, thank you. And the thing that I'm
or
look,
any of the mists that I make.
oh yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not trying to
Oh
move
no,
the
no, you're fine.
conversation. It was a inspired thought. So,
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
mhm,
That's how
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah,
what this is all about, is just stream of consciousness.
right.
But the thing is, using the energy from your stuff. But the history, kind of getting back to telephone again, the history
Okay.
of it is, especially magicians, yada yada yada. The technology goes back, for centuries, where magicians were using this for not so fantastic purposes. And I realized, oh, you know what? It's like anything else. It's
But
the
you mean
intention on
sorcerers,
the
not
sort of,
sleight of hand people, right?
exactly. I mean,
Okay.
like the
Okay.
actual, black,
Right. Right. Right.
whatever. And
Yeah.
and there's like secret societies and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how Chuck kind of found out about all this, I think. But
Of
the thing about
course.
it is, but the thing about it is, yeah, it could be used for evil purposes, but it could also be used for good purposes. The technology was fantastic. It's just you had a bunch of ne'er do wells that are at the helm who were using it for not so nice things. And but but the thing about it is now it's been developed. And you'll notice these special sigils on there. They're Metatron. That's the angelic energy that's being projected with the machine. And from what I understand, that Metatron is in charge of making things happen or creating things, inventing that kind of thing. I'm not sure really
Okay.
personally about that.
So
So
do you
yeah,
use the sigil or the
yeah,
Metatron's cube or
they're
okay,
no,
okay.
they're sigils that are on the box themselves. And if a person doesn't want this sigil, they can easily pull it off. I mean, you can just take your fingernail, you'll be able to scrape the thing off if it's something goes against your personal beliefs. That's but neither here or there.
Right,
For
right,
the
right.
for the mass majority or for the majority of the people that buy this, that's what they're using it for. But getting back to
Hmm.
the thing that they're always asking for is money, and I
Yeah.
bet and your stuff. I know the history behind it. I think it went behind or went through this on a previous show. But the whole point of it is that everybody is a common. It just seems to be a common thing. Yeah, it's three. People want three things with radionics. They want money. They want relationships. They want justice. Okay, these three things. And and what I'm trying to do here is to provide one of those things, so those key factors that gives them opportunities to fulfill the other two things they're trying to accomplish. And so,
Right.
but with your help and what you've done here, I mean, hell, I've I've been using this stuff. I don't know how long have you been sending this to me? Like 2, maybe 3 years now, four
A few
years. So,
years because I really, it was when I started working with biotheric technology after, unfortunately the guy kind of retired and
right.
took down the websites and everything, but I built him quite a few websites. This gentleman, Dr. Gary Kersey,
Uh
who
huh.
has very interesting uses of radionics. And I ended up doing a massive trade with him for building all these websites. And I got these devices that allowed me to imprint water
Uh huh.
with frequencies. And I got his money set, I got his color set, I got a lot of stuff. And it works. Like his stuff works, and I think it's too bad that like it never took off.
Hmm.
I it's indispensable to me. Like I use it to make money like with my website and my Etsy store and blah blah blah, but I've also just used it, Dr. Mulder, to really help people.
Hmm.
And long story short, I've been working with flower essence and gem essences, and then the which I probably didn't put enough weight into the whole aroma, like is aromatherapy, the olfactory side of, because I do things with scents in the way that I build it. And then I use the gold gem essence, the silver gem essence. I use other flower essences that are about abundance and building and
Hmm.
increasing.
Hmm.
And then also the color. I mean, I'll disclose it. Essence of gold and essence of copper to ground it.
Hmm.
And then I won't give up all my secrets, but I imprint it with a lot of energy. And as I've said before, the last thing I do is always gratitude. There's
Hmm.
a biotheric disc with that has the frequencies of gratitude programmed onto crystals through old school radionics machines right there. And I use a like a Tesla device to get that onto the liquid medium. And I'm so grateful that I can do this. And you haven't really used many of my other mists, but I must say I've developed some really good ones. Like I have this relaxed one that uses flower essences and lavender color essence and
Hmm.
other things, and I used it and I'm like, "Oh my God, it does shift your energy."
Hmm.
I should send you one of those. You know what? I'm going to send you some stuff because I would love a Tepaphone, and I'll get you
Oh,
back on that for sure, man.
oh, not a problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
And maybe something for your daughter too, because
oh
yeah,
yeah, that'd
yeah,
be great. That'd be
yep,
great.
yep.
Yeah. What's that? I just and again, the thing about it is, it's like an I look at these telephones, I look at these devices
Mm-hmm.
as energy transference devices. A lot of them are. That's
Right.
you're taking the energy from one thing, you're projecting it to a target with a certain intent or a certain outcome behind it. And again, it gets back to what we're discussing in part one of our our little conversation. It's all about consciousness. Everything's based upon consciousness. It's the intent of the operator. Well, where the hell is the intent coming from? It's coming from the consciousness of the operator. And so the operator is using these devices. They're just tools. There's nothing magical about them. They're just designed to help make things happen
They
that normally
focus
wouldn't happen.
energy just like a
Yeah,
lens,
exactly,
but
exactly.
with dials and it could even be said that the consciousness, when you really tap into your intention, when you're really focused, you may be carrying the intention of God, the
Yeah.
God and God source energy, because we really have power, I would posit, as opposed to force,
Hmm.
which is, I think, on the dark side. But there's a long discussion, and I'm biased,
Yeah.
admittedly.
Yeah.
But when you really you do get into, does God or the Great Spirit work through our hands?
Mhm.
And when we have a very strong, focused single-mindedness, like in the Bible, it says, "If your eye be single." Something in about the single-mindedness where you get results, and I think that your machines, and it sounds like your Tepaphone really comes into play with um, uh, adding the light, the power of light, the power of
Hmm.
illumination. You know how many words come from that, for better or for worse, to
Hmm.
illumine, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's just giving it that extra thing. And Chuck, he was always pushing this, and for whatever reason at the time, it just didn't really. It, yeah, I could make it happen. I could build them and all that, but I didn't really see just how special they were until I actually talked to people that are using these things on a long-term basis. Because
Mm-hmm.
honestly,
Mm-hmm.
until last year, or I guess it was about 6 months ago, maybe 7 months ago, I never really investigated the telephone,
Wow.
and so as heavily as I have, and once I got into it, I realized, oh my, it's like I was the freaking gold mine. I mean, it's like the
That's really
jackpot.
cool.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep.
And the universe told me, okay, apparently this is the right time to let it, to really push this thing and really start, getting it out there for the general public to use. And
Mm-hmm.
and like the thing that and here's the beautiful thing about this. I always kind of joked about this, but it's honest God truth. Um, when I had those telephones, I built my first, I think maybe 10 or 15 of them at one time. Okay. I did,
Mm-hmm.
this is
Mm-hmm.
even before I got on the air. I didn't even have a prototype, but well, I had a prototype that I was showing people. And then after that, I immediately just, a few quick designs and went ahead and just did like 10 or 15 of them. I took your spray. I sprayed
Mm-hmm.
that entire everything. I sprayed the telephones. I sprayed me. I sprayed the computer. I sprayed my cell phone, anything that was involved in trying to make sales and see what kind of feedback I would get from people about the telephone. Well, it starts from this little crappy little video that I did on a prototype of a telephone to progressing, to a more or less a finished product, which looks basically like what we sell today, and go from there to this, and it's like wow, it's like
Awesome.
wow, and I do hold this money miss as one of the reasons for the success of this product. Because I really did go through it, because it gave me the freaking idea. It gave me put everything together for me to order to create something that was really what I would call a hit, and so this is it's just been, and I just want to give you again a compliment for a job well done. I mean, this
Oh,
stuff
well,
works.
well, thank you. And I'll give you a compliment, because you really carry the energy and the drive, and like you have the follow through
Well,
to
thank
make
you.
things happen, and you got that mind, and it like to pull the conversation full circle, because I think that we might need to wrap it up pretty soon before we
Yeah,
turn this into a three-part. But your what was a Harman Kardon? Remember those old
yeah,
stereos, like
yeah. I
the
have one.
best. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like the really good old school solid state stereo equipment, and the way that it works with the energy of music to
Mhm.
amplify,
Right.
and so you've come full circle with these electronic devices that you're making for in the radionics space.
Mhm.
And I think that it's the same inspiration. And it I've seen your astrology chart, and
Uh,
it's right there. Like, I looked at that thing and I was like, oh, no wonder. It's Uranus has a certain placement that's really strong, which is associated with lightning, by the way. It's a
ah,
very prominent aspect in your chart. And so it all makes sense to me.
oh,
It kind of
okay.
puts a little
So,
bow on it. And
okay.
I don't
So,
even subscribe. I do believe that there's no fate but what we make, but sometimes people's charts, you're just like, oh, no wonder.
okay. No wonder this person's wired that way. I
It
gotcha.
does. Yeah, there are
Yeah.
tells.
Yeah. Uh,
Uh-huh.
well, I try. I mean, hey, do I make mistakes? Hell yeah, every damn day. But I do the best I can. It's like any other human
Exactly.
being. But anyway, it's this has been a wonderful conversation, and I look forward to doing this again. I really
Me
do.
too. Me too.
Okay.
You're a lovely conversationalist, and thank you.
Well,
And
I feel the same about you.
all
All right.
right.
Well, okay. All right.
Okay, and
Well,
we're going to send lots of blessings to our audience.
yes.
Any blessings. May everybody have great fortune, and seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all other things shall be added unto you.
Well, that
Right?
was that
And the
was
kingdom
very
of
kind.
heaven is within. Not to be a big Bible thumper, but there's something really magical in that statement, I believe. So I'll share it. I just
Well,
did share
yes, you
it.
did. Yes, you did. And thank you very much. I think that was a good way to end this.
All
All right.
right.
Well,
Take
thank
care.
you.
Catch you
All right.
next time.
All right. Bye bye now.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.